Howdy peeps! Yes, Lois, back again. And I'm feeling better and I'm looking better and I am. I'm much, much happier than obviously you saw in the last video. So let's just park that one, shall we? But you know, I'm human like everybody else. And as I've always told you guys, I share everything, warts and all. I don't hide anything because I think it's very important, you know, if you're going to be watching me and taking on board things that I'm sharing with you, then I think it's very important to be able to relate to the people that you're watching, and I want to be able to share that I'm going through the same experiences as you, because yeah, that's where I'm coming from with all of this. A lot of this is my own experiences. It's stuff that I've studied, researched, experimented with. There's a whole arena that I'm coming from. And if you're new to this channel, hello, I'm Lois. I'm a mindset and empowerment coach. I'm also a conscious manifester. I'm a full-time van lifer, and I'm basically here not just sharing parts of my life with you, but I'm hopefully guiding, explaining in the most simple terms that even a 5-year-old could get it, everything to do with awakenings, mental health, mindset, overcoming limiting beliefs, healing traumas, manifesting, van life, you name it. I cover all aspects of it. But really, my passion is helping people to overcome and release whatever negativity, whatever issues, mindsets, beliefs that they're holding on to, which are holding them back and keeping them small from living their absolute best lives. So if you are new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy the videos. Go check out some of my other ones. Yeah, enjoy this video. This is probably going to be my shortest video, to be honest, because it's what I'm about to discuss is pretty, yeah, it's pretty simple, straightforward, succinct, and there's not really much to kind of go over on this one. And obviously, as you can see, I'm definitely feeling much happier and much better now. I have also shifted through another ego death. I have gone through a series of things. I found out what my root limiting belief was. And everybody has one. We have kind of like surface level limiting beliefs and issues and mindsets and programming that creates our behaviors, and this sort of ties into what I'm about to talk about. But there is always a very distinct root belief system that we have. And for me, it was that I had to earn everything. And I think a lot of us can relate to this. I felt like I had to earn everything. I had to earn friends, earn love, earn kindness, earn compliments, earning money. And if you think about it, as a society, we are very, very programmed and conditioned under this guise of having to earn things, right? Our parents do it to us. Do your chores and you'll earn pocket money. Go to school, work hard, and you'll earn good results. Go to work to earn a salary. Everything is about, you have to do something, an effort, in order to receive something back, which is great because, the universe loves reciprocity. It loves balance. It's harmony. We all have to work for that. But we don't have to prove ourselves worthy in order to receive something, especially something like love and kindness and understanding and compassion. And yet most of us spend our whole lives trying and efforting and proving our worth and value to everybody else around us, whether it's our parents, our siblings, our friends, our partners, our co-workers, our boss, everybody. We're all guilty of it. Even I've done it. And that was the root thing for me, that I felt like I always had to earn something rather than just receive it because it's me. It seems crazy now that I've seen it and I've worked through it, but yeah, I always felt like, I couldn't just be liked because it's me. I had to be the funny one. I had to be giving and supportive and loving and kind. That I couldn't just be, loved romantically unless, I was, over giving to the relationship, or I was doing more for the other person. I was over caring for them, overcompensating for things, even sometimes, sexually, put it bluntly. Sometimes I felt like I had to perform in that way in order to receive love. And we, even with parents, I felt like I had to always keep the peace. I had to be, a good girl. I had to, you know, be quiet and do things like that, you know, to not be too much, to not be over the top, because, you know, you'd get told, oh, shush, you know, be quiet, you're too noisy, too loud, you're too much. And I think everybody can relate to that. So I've shifted that, thank fuck. And now that I've released that, the whole weight has been lifted. I feel like the whole world has just lifted off me. And the transformation I have seen since that, in terms of my manifesting power, but also the energy that I now embody, is fucking stratospheric beyond what I could even comprehend. So much so, and this is what happens when you shift your inner world, when you shift those beliefs and those issues and all of those negative aspects about you. When you do shift that, you naturally energetically raise your vibration, and you start to feel and become different, and people pick that up. And the most incredible thing happened just the other day. I had gone and house sat for my mum and looked after her dog, and as I left, we hugged each other as normal, but this time she hugged me and said, thanks for looking after everything, I love you. And I can't even explain this, but I've been on this planet 46 years, and I've never heard her say I love you. Not like the way she said it. You know, it was properly genuine and heartfelt. She even said it again last night when I spoke to her on the phone. And my whole life, nobody in my family ever said I love you. Nobody expressed emotion in that way. And I think that's why, you know, I've so craved love, because I felt so neglected of it. I felt like it had been, you know, I'd been deprived of it. And all I ever wanted was to feel loved and to be told I love you, and to hear it and feel it and experience it. And I just never did. It was never present in anyone in my family. You know, we were, you know, we always got on. We all knew we did love each other, but, you know, sometimes you just like to hear it. And yeah, my whole 46 years on this planet, I never heard it until the other day. And yeah, it just, oh, it's overwhelming. But of course I said I love you back. And that's the first time we've ever said I love you to each other. And it was just the most heartwarming experience I've ever had. And we said it again yesterday, and I guess this is the way we're moving forward. And it's because of the shift, I believe, in my energy, that because I got rid of that limiting belief, I'm now open and I'm able to receive it. Because before, I didn't realize, with this belief that I had to earn everything, I was blocking myself from receiving anything. Because every time someone would pay me a compliment, I'd be like, oh no, don't worry, it's fine, it's nothing. You know, people would say, wow, you're an amazing florist, and I'd be like, oh, it's just practice. You know, someone might compliment me on something I'm wearing, I'm like, oh, this thing, I just got it from a charity shop. I could never just receive something. It's taken me years of practice to do that now. If someone pays me a compliment, I just go, oh, thanks, and I take it, because, you know, I want to receive it. But there were still other parts of my life that I just wasn't able to receive, in terms of, you know, receiving love from a partner or kindness from strangers. And I have to give a big shout out to one of my subscribers, Chris, who, beautiful donation. And, you know, he advised me setting up Buy Me a Coffee, and I had no end of fucking problems setting that thing up. And the reviews actually weren't that great. From Stripe and from Buy Me a Coffee, apparently they're pretty good at withholding your funds. So you'll see the link in the description. If you do want to donate anything, like, you know, the price of a coffee, it does help me with this channel, in order to be able to put out the content that I do. Now, this isn't like a begging thing, because I feel a bit funny when I see other people do it, but I'm just putting it out there because you know, it does help, and I just appreciate everything. But, you know, there's no obligation to do that. But yeah, the link is in my bio, and I'll put the link in the description box below as well if you did want to donate, and it goes to my PayPal. So today's topic, now that I've warbled on, but I just wanted to update you on all of that stuff, it does tie in with what I've just been discussing, and it's the gap, shall we say, the difference between our expectations and our standards. And I think this is going to hit a lot of you, because pretty much, I think for almost all of us, our expectations are often higher than our standards. And I would really love you to actually sit with this and look at this and explore this, because Even if this isn't across the board in your life, there will be areas in your life where, yeah, your standards are not as high as your expectations. And all this does to us is it creates more suffering for us, really. It creates more frustration, more anger, more resentment, more anxiety, and we don't really want to sit in those kind of feelings because that energy is pretty repellent and it's not nice to feel like that all the time, is it? But of course, we set these expectations for ourselves and predominantly for other people, and they don't meet those expectations. But what we don't realize is that sometimes the standards at which we set for ourselves, it just doesn't tally. So, for example, we may have an expectation of how people should treat us. And this is always the key one. So we have an expectation that people should be respectful, they should be kind, considerate, maybe understanding, compassionate. Whatever your expectations are of your interactions with people, you set that out there. And then people don't meet that expectation. But the reason they don't meet that expectation is because often inadvertently, because our standards are lower than our expectations, we allow that behavior. So for example, if you say you've got a friend who, you know, we expect, as I say, we expect our friends to be kind and considerate and caring and understanding, you know, listen to us, you know, want to spend time with us and on all those things. But if we have a low self-worth and our standards are quite low, then what happens is we have that expectation of our friend behaving a certain way. But say, for example, they're quite disrespectful, or they maybe talk down to us, or they make fun of us, you know, or they have, you know, you get some of these people that, you know, it's like a backhanded compliment. Like, you know, oh, that outfit looks good on you for a change, or something like that, for example. Or, you know, oh, wow, you know, you did that thing. Oh, I'm quite surprised because you're not normally good at that. Just those little digs. And we let it slide. We let it go because we're like, but they're my friend. You know, we do it all the time with family, right? We expect our family to have our back, you know, to support us, to be there for us, to encourage us, to protect us, look after us, and to nurture us. And then, you know, we'll have members in the family who don't treat us that way, and we allow it because our standards for ourselves have been set much lower than our expectations. So this kind of ties into another video that I did about boundaries, where if you allow that behavior, then it's going to continue. And you will constantly feel more anger, frustration, and resentment towards other people. Because not only are they not meeting your expectations, they are also overextending your standards because you haven't been clear with yourself on those standards. So if you're expecting people to treat you well and with kindness and respect, but your standards for yourself are so low that you'll allow people to talk down to you. You know, you might have a co-worker who constantly makes fun of you in front of everybody else and makes jokes at your expense. Well, you're expecting them to treat you with respect and kindness, but you're also allowing them to mistreat you with disrespect and unkindness. So your expectation has gone much higher than your standards. So it's very important that we recognize where that misalignment is. Where are we holding people to such high expectation, but then we're not meeting that with our standards? Because really, our standards should be higher than our expectations. And that goes for ourselves as well. Like, how many times do we tell ourselves, you know, I'm going to get this, this, and this done, or I'm going to go for this job, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to make more money, or I'm going to book that holiday, or New Year's resolutions are a good one. Like, next year, I'm going to get fit, go to the gym, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to do this. Those are your expectations. But the standards that you set for yourself are so low that by the second week of January, you've given up. because you're not holding yourself to your standards. You're holding yourself to your expectations. And sometimes our expectations are really fucking unrealistic. You know, our standards for ourselves should be the most important thing. Our standards should be the highest, where we say, I do not allow people to disrespect me, to be unkind to me, to devalue me, to belittle me in public, or, you know, to not support me in my endeavors. And even for yourself, to say, my standard for myself is that I love and I respect my body and I'm going to take care of it. My health is my top priority. My care for my family, my standard that I set for myself is that I will be reliable, I will be accountable, that I am dependable, that my family can count on me, that no matter what, I am there for them. With my friends, my standard that I set for myself is that I am loyal and trustworthy and honest, and I will be there for them. For my partner, I again will be faithful, loyal, honest and transparent, that I will be supportive and understanding. And that your expectation can drop at that point, where instead of making these kind of almost impossible like limits, really, that you can drop your expectations and say, well, I don't need to expect this person to be a certain way, because I know what my standards are and I know what my boundaries are. So the very moment that somebody acts against my standards, I put a stop to it. So I don't have to expect anything anymore. I don't have to expect the world to give me everything. I don't have to expect people to bend over backwards for me. I don't have to expect anybody to do anything for me, because my standards for myself are at this level. My standards for myself are high enough that the first moment somebody is disrespectful, dishonest, you know, we can even talk like it when somebody cheats, or if a partner lies to you, or if a friend is, you know, not trustworthy, if a family member, you know, wrongs you in some way. I'm not saying you hold grudges and you don't forgive, but you're able to just not keep such a tight grip on everything and not be so controlling of it, but you're also able to relax a little bit more. You won't have as much resentment, you won't have as much animosity and anger and frustration, because you are not allowing anybody to overstep your boundaries. You're not allowing people to go against your standards. And a lot of the time our standards are only set based on how we feel about ourselves. So if you don't feel that great about yourself, your standards are going to be pretty low. You know, if you don't think you're worthy of love and affection and kindness, you're going to allow someone to mistreat you a lot more than if your standard for yourself is much higher, where you don't allow bullshit, and you don't allow cheating, and you don't allow lying. And the first sign of it, you call it out and you show it out for what it is. And because you have no expectations really on that person, on how they should or should not respond or react, whatever they then do at that point, you make the call to say, well, this doesn't meet my standards that I've set for myself, where I can only be in a relationship with someone that I can trust, who I know is respectful and kind and loving and treats me well. And you are not meeting those standards for me. And so therefore, with all respect and love, I let this go. You know, if you've got a family member who is constantly belittling you and putting you down and degrading you, or comparing siblings, that's a good one, then you approach that and you say, hey, no, I love and value myself enough that my standard for myself is that I need to be spoken to respectfully, and that I will not allow somebody to talk to me like that and treat me like that. Whether you're a parent, a sibling, or an aunt, an uncle, or a grandparent, it doesn't matter. This is my standard for myself, and you're not meeting that standard. So either you do meet that standard, or respectfully, then I cannot communicate with you. I cannot, engage with you on this. And again, there's no expectation for that person to do or say or be any different, because you've just made it very clear that it's this or it's nothing. And that offers the other person the opportunity to level up, to meet you where you are, to meet your standards, to change their behaviors and change their ways, or face the consequences of that and carry on being, the way they've been behaving, but they don't get access to you. And so that's something that I think is a very key part that we need to look at in all areas of our life, whether it's money, relationships, work, success, all areas of our lives, to take a look and just make sure, are our expectations much greater than our standards for ourselves? And if they are, how can we shift that balance? And one of the first ways is to value yourself a lot more and to know what you will and you will not accept, and hold yourself accountable to those standards. It doesn't mean you don't compromise. It doesn't mean you don't discuss and you try and negotiate with people and you find some kind of balance. You don't lower your standards to suit someone else's bad behavior, or you don't lower your standards in order to fit into spaces and fit in with groups and fit in with people and fit into experiences that you just don't belong. So often we make ourselves so much smaller and so much dimmer than we should be. We shrink ourselves and we hold ourselves down in order to just stay stuck and fit in with everyone and keep the peace and, don't want to rock the boat and all that stuff. But fuck that. We didn't come here to play small, did we? We didn't come here to be timid and meek and let people walk all over us. No. We came here to live the best lives we can. And really, you have to know your value and your worth first, and then you've really got to stick to that and implement that and keep to it. Keep yourself accountable on this one. So if this resonates, have a little inner dialogue with yourself and figure out where in your life are you not meeting your own standards, and where are you not making it a point that other people are meeting those standards too. And of course, there are some people that can have really high standards, which are not achievable, but that's for you to decide. If people can't meet them, people can't meet them, right? But it's funny that this comes up a lot in topic now, especially with this whole man versus woman thing that's apparently going on, where women have set themselves higher standards, but it's because women have been really working on themselves a lot. And I'm not saying men haven't, men have too, but the issue has always been that women have set their standards too high and they need to lower their standards, otherwise they won't be able to find a partner. Now, that phrase in itself is mind-boggling, because what you're telling us is that we need to have much lower standards for ourselves so that our partners can meet those, rather than saying to people, well, I've raised my standards, so why don't you raise yours and meet me there? Instead of being comfortable, instead of pulling me down, I want you to level up. And I think that is such a more inviting thing when someone says, this is my standard, come and meet me here, because you're encouraging other people to also level up, to elevate, to expand and grow and become better human beings. But there are so many people out there who are afraid to do the inner work, who don't want to face those parts of themselves, and who almost refuse. And you can't really do much about that. So I hope this video has resonated with you. It probably wasn't as short as I had planned, but I just really wanted to make this point, and I hope it hits home. So please drop a comment in the box below if you recognize where your expectations and your standards are not aligning, where your expectations are higher than your standards. Even share some of your experiences. Just share some of your thoughts on this video. Get involved, because I love reading your comments. I love the conversations that we have about some of these videos. And if there's anything, any questions or anything you want to discuss, pop those in the comments as well, and I will definitely respond to those. So right, I've got an exciting weekend planned. I've got a hike tomorrow. I'm going to a ball tomorrow night with my friend, my adventure buddy Sarah, and then we're probably going for another hike on the Sunday if my legs and hips can keep up with it. But I'm very, very excited, and I'm a bit anxious because I don't really own a lot of nice clothes anymore because because I spend so much time hiking. I don't really get to go out and no one takes me on a fucking date anymore. So I've got nowhere to go, but I've got a beautiful red dress and I'm very looking forward to wearing it, and I'm wearing it for me. So I'm going to get dressed up for me. And yeah, I'm really excited to finally be going out and enjoying myself, letting my hair down, party the night away, and yeah, who knows, this Cinderella, she might meet a prince. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, love you all. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you again in the next video. Take care. Bye.